Hello and welcome to Tips from the Track on behalf of GoRacing.ie and Tote Ireland, coming to you from Punchestown Racecourse on day 3 of the 5-day National Hunt Festival. I'm Martin Murphy for Horse Racing Ireland, and once again I'm joined by Noel Hayes of Tote Ireland and David Jennings at the Racing Post. And together we're hopefully going to give you a couple of winners for today, and of course the big day today all around Cuvega. Good day, Noel, yesterday.
Great day, yes, Martin. Yeah, lots of winners. Obviously for a Tote punter, one lucky punter here on track spent €90 and won the jackpot all on his own for €17,500.
Fair play to him.
Today is another day. €25,000 jackpot guarantee starts on race 3. 50,000 pick 6 guarantee, and within that there's a €40,000 rollover from yesterday, and that starts in race 1. We also have a €40,000 play spot guarantee also starting in race 1. So lots for punters to get their teeth into again today on a good day's racing.
Okay, of course we've 8 races today, and Dave, we're going to start with you in the first race. 25 runners, no pressure.
No pressure at all, just Noel's pick 6 there. Anybody that gets past the first leg is going to be doing very, very well. This is really, really tricky. I was going through it last night and I thought it'd be better sticking, it's 10-1 the field. I thought Max Nicholson was fairly impressive the last time when he got a bit of better ground, but he's had so many chances before that. He's fairly exposed. The one I liked at a bit of a big price was Shemshal, number 7 on the card. He's a divil. He's so quirky, so he is. He doesn't find much off the bridle, doesn't jump particularly well, but he has got an engine, and I know he works better than he's shown on the track. I thought he was going reasonably well at Ferryhouse the last day when he fell. He's just a type of horse that a big field, get into lots of trouble, it could suit him, and it's just such an open race. I'd be willing to take something at a big price. He's about 28-1 this morning. I thought he might have an each way chance.
Well, Noel, any add to that one?
Yeah, I suppose first thing to note obviously is that this first race is the Colin Murray Memorial Race. He was a great friend to everyone in racing and sadly missed, of course. But in this race I like the look of Henry de Bromhead's horse, Grey Monk. He seemed to have an aborted attempt over fences, and he reversed the hurdling here today, I presume to protect his novice status over fences. But he's got a mark of 119. And I think he could be competitive here. Henry de Bromhead's horses are running well here all week, but a speculative selection in a tough race is all I could say about it.
Well, certainly, and of course it is a very tough start for punters. So the second race then at 4:15 is a 3.E handicap chase. Very open race here. I suppose the favourite's going to be Ned Buntline. I know, Noel, that you like this one.
Yeah, Ned Buntline's a horse I really like. Was unlucky, I think, a bit of inexperience might have caught him out in Cheltenham. I think he's a standout in this race off a mark of 140. I think you can expect him to be very competitive here. And hopefully that could be good enough to win it, but again it's an open race. I think it's about 5-1 the field.
Well, we're looking at a bit of video here seeing Maloney beating Ned Buntline at Naas in January. Maloney runs again today. Would you give that one any chance?
Yeah, just watching that race there, I don't think I could ever forgive Ned Buntline after that day. I was so disappointed with him, but he ran a cracker at Cheltenham. He really did. He's very well handicapped. He's only £2 higher today than he was at Cheltenham. He has so much ability. If he could just channel it in the right way, he's just a little bit keen. He reminds me, I wrote in the paper today, he reminds me an awful lot of My Tender Yours, in that he's just such a gorgeous horse to look at. He's just really keen, but everything comes so easy to him, it seems. He's definitely the horse with the most ability in the race. Whether he'll win or not is a different story. I think a 5-1 is probably the right price, or 9-2. There's a couple in the race I like. The first is Sizing Machine. Noel talked about the Grey Monk in the first race. Sizing Machine I think is well handicapped. He jumps well and you like this better ground. He was 20-1 first show. I thought that was very big. I see price wise in the race, and Post tipped him up as well. I think he'll go off about 10s. And the other one I liked in the race was Perfect Smile of Noel Meads, who goes well fresh, is a good jumper as well. And just talking to Noel yesterday, he seemed to think that while Ned Buntline was obviously his main hope, he wasn't ruling out Perfect Smile. So there's two at bigger prices to have a chance, but certainly Ned Buntline has the most ability in the race anyway. Whether he can just put it all together or not is the question.
Well, actually, I actually do fancy Perfect Smile myself each way, and possibly Sizing Machine too, so I'm afraid, Dave, you're taking my thunder there as usual. On to the third race now, of course. This Latouche Cup is around for a long time. For the first time for a long time, I think we're going to have an English favourite here in Duke of Luca. He ran well when he was 4th in the cross country at Cheltenham, then of course he won the entry last time. Obviously the Enda Bulger contingent here is 3 or 4 runners, and Nina Carberry's on quantitative easing. I think I'd fancy that one myself. What about you, Noel?
Yeah, one of the most iconic races in the National Hunt calendar here in Ireland, and it's quite unusual, as you say, to not have Enda Bulger train favourite, and let alone that, not an Irish train favourite. It seems like a very open renewal this year. The one I would take a look at is Longstrand of Ivana McCutcheon, probably a double figure price, and it would just be a small each way interest for me.
Tough race, Dave. What do you think?
Martin, I know I'm here to do tipping and we're trying to pick winners, but I fancy absolutely nothing. I hate these races. They're brilliant to watch, but from a punting perspective it's impossible. So much luck involved. Obviously the favourite won the first Banks race, so people would be saying, be positive. and be positive here maybe. And obviously Duke of Luca is the best horse in the race, but would you want to be taking 7-4 about a horse that's run, I think, once over the banks? I certainly wouldn't. I'd forget about it and just watch it and enjoy it.
Well, at least you've been honest there anyway, Dave. So in the big race, of course, today is the Ladbrokes World Series hurdle. Can Quivega win it for the 5th year in a row? Possibly could be our last race. History-making mare won her 6th race at the Cheltenham Festival last time. I fancy her tip myself. I think at even money she still is the one to beat. But hopefully, you know, I think to Noel off camera, he certainly fancies her. We're just looking at her here winning last year, beating Rev de Civile very easily. Now, of course, that race was marred by the Solbit having to be withdrawn to the start. Facing a much tougher task this year, Noel. I think you possibly could be against her.
Yeah, I am against her, Martin. I love the mare, and I hope I'm wrong. But from a punting perspective, I just didn't think the spark was there in Cheltenham. She had a charmed run in the race, and everything went well for her. And I suppose spark is the word, and it just wasn't there for me. I think a shower of rain here overnight would, you know, take the sting out of the ground. I think at Fisher's Cross is the one to take Quivega on with. You know, I wouldn't ignore the likes of Fingal Bay either, but you know, at Fisher's Cross to take on the mare. Deep down, I kind of do hope I'm wrong, but from a punting perspective, I'd certainly be siding with that Fisher's Cross. Well,
I certainly hope you're wrong as well, no, to be honest. But it's just, I think the reception she'll get here today, if she wins, will be unbelievable, and she'll take the house down. What about you, Dave? Do you think she'll do it?
Yeah, just interesting to hear Noel say there that she didn't show the same spark at Cheltenham. I don't think she ever really shows any spark at Cheltenham. I think she's far better at Punchestown than she is at Cheltenham. It is a little bit worrying though. She is getting on a bit, and I think she's better at 3 miles than she is obviously over 2 mile 4 in Cheltenham. But I just think, yeah, at the prices, I agree with Noel. I think at Fisher's Cross is the one. I think it's interesting. I was very disappointed with that Fisher's Cross at Aintree. Obviously, Tony McCoy is probably one of the best jockeys we'll ever see, but I didn't think it was his finest moment, taking on Zarkander the whole way. The horse lost his shoe as well, which is very important. I don't know how much difference that makes to a horse. Maybe Noel will tell you more about that, but it obviously makes some sort of difference. It's interesting, Rebecca Curtis said that he's in the best shape that he's ever been in. Obviously that bit of rain this morning and last night will be a big help to have Fisher's Cross, and you can back at Fisher's Cross at 9-2 straight and maybe 2-1 without, and I think that's the way forward.
Well, divided opinions there on Quivega, and let's just hope that it'll be a good result either way. On today's 6:05, the Naas Court Handicap Hurdle, wide open contest here with 25 runners over 3 miles. So Inishman will be the interesting horse here. He's done well on the flat lately. He's around 11-2 favourite at the moment. What do you think, Noel?
Yeah, I think Inishman is a worthy favourite, but I just think that the tighter track here will hold against him. I think he prefers a longer run in, as we saw in Navan. The horse I would like is probably our man Zebo. You know, lots of memories franked his form yesterday. He's only had 5 runs over hurdles. He's 2 wins, 2 seconds. I know he's towards the front end of the market, but I think a few quid in our man Zebo, and there could be parties all around town tonight if he wins.
We're just looking at Inishman there, finishing third at Punchestown early on in the year. What about yourself, Dave?
Yeah, I think with Inishman, I'd say Dennis would love to keep him to the flat, but obviously Barry loves to have his runners over jumpers, and he loves having runners in Punchestown. So I'd say Dennis was hoping to run as group races in his mind on the flat for Inishman. He ran a cracker, but by God, he had a hard race on Saturday. I'm with Noel again here, unfortunately. I think Armand Zebo was the one. Real eye-catch and run at Fairyhouse. Talking to Michael Harrigan before the race that day, he thought he'd come on a ton for that. Barry Garrett he booked. We all seen Barry and beat that yesterday. He just rides his place as well as anybody else, and it's probably the one least exposed off its handicap mark, and I think it's probably one of the better bets on the card.
Yeah, very interesting race, that one. And of course, all still standing the jackpot at this stage, we have the Ryanair Novice Chase as the last leg, the 6th race on the card at 6:40. And what a race this promises to be. William Mullen strong, double-handed here with Champagne Fever, and of course Felix Younger. Also we have the likes of Trifolium and the English Raider, Ball of Success. So it's shaping up to be a very good race. Myself, I do fancy Felix Younger. We see him here finishing second to Trifolium in the Arkle at Leopardstown in January. I know he's kind of disappointed at Cheltenham over 2.5. I do think 2 miles on goodish ground is what he wants. What's your feeling on that, Noel?
Yeah, I'd be a big fan of Champagne Fever actually here, Martin. I know he disappointed here last year in the festival, but he was after having a much harder year. He comes here this year having just had 3 runs over fences. He's an absolutely exceptional jumper, you know, all but for one bad mistake in Leopardstown earlier in the season. I think Punchestown is a track here that really suits a good, strong, front-running horse. I know you could question that it might be setting up for some of the horses in behind, but I would expect Champagne Fever, you know, to go to the front, you know, and basically cut their throats, you know, and jump from fence to fence and win this one, and convincingly as well, I think.
Dave, how about yourself on that one?
Just watching the Arkle at Cheltenham, I still can't believe the horse got beaten. No matter what way you kind of tilt your head or many curses you scream at television, you still can't get up. I looked at the race earlier on in the week, and I was completely against Champagne Fever just early in the week, and I was saying, you know, looking for alternatives. But the more I look, the more I come back to Champagne Fever. And like Noel again, I just think he's the best horse in the race. And sometimes you kind of can overcomplicate things looking for alternatives. You know, you can say Baller's Success was quite impressive at Aintree, but Simply Ned was second. Like, you know, don't think Trifolium ran up to his best there. I think Champagne Fever, as Noel said, it's straightforward. He's going to be out in front. He gallops all day long. He jumps super. I think for anything else to win, Champagne Fever will have to perform below standard. And if you're looking for a horse to run below his best, I think you're probably looking too much. So it's Champagne Fever for me, even though I wouldn't like backing him at a very short price, but I think he's the most likely winner.
Well, that's a very strong value for Champagne Fever. So in the 7th race then, the 7:15, the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, this one is going to be a bit tricky because Willie Mullins has 3 runners here. The one I like myself is John Kylie's Bridgewater Girl. I thought ran quite well at Cork last time on her first run for a while. Again, that man Garrity's on board, but will she be good enough to beat the three Willie Mullins ones?
Martin, I'll be honest and say I have no opinion on this race, and I'll defer to yourself and David here, but an open race and not one that really appeals to me all that much.
That's unusual for you, not to have an opinion, but what do you think, Dave?
I have a very strong opinion, would you believe. I think Ruby has got this completely wrong. I can't believe he's not riding Vicky de L'Oasis. I just think Uta Care has a plenty of chances. It ran quite well behind Adriana de Mott's, but that was a grade 1 in name, not in nature. It was a desperate grade 1. I think Vicky de L'Oasis, like obviously, as we said yesterday with Boston Bob, Ruby and Willie know a lot more than I do, but visually anyway, I think Vicky de L'Oasis is the one in this. Travelled really well at Gorham Park the last day. I was disappointed that it didn't maybe just beat Bonzo Bing that day, but David Casey was on board that day, and I'd say he probably felt afterwards that he maybe should have won the race. I just think that Vicky de L'Oasis is the one that has most scope for improvement. You know, she hasn't had that hard of a year. She travels really well. I can see her coming into contention, travelling sweetly on the home turn, and I think she's a real good price of 5 to 1. I really do.
That's great, Dave. Well, the final race is the bumper, and since you've tipped the last 2 bumper winners the last 2 days, we're going to let you have a go for the hat-trick.
Yeah, hat-trick. I think it's fairly straightforward, really. I think that the favourite will win. I really do. Tell us more. Interesting, I did a piece with Eddie O'Leary just leading into the week because the Owners' Championship is getting really close with himself and JP McManus, or the Gigginstown and JP McManus, and I asked him for a couple of horses to look forward to this week, and the very first one he said was Tell Us More. He said, and even listened to Willie, the horse actually wasn't fit the first day in Gorham Park, and it was very, very impressive. It's come on a ton since that. The rain has come. It was a kind of a doubtful runner yesterday if the rain didn't come, but the rain has come. I think he's an exceptional horse, I really do. I think he's probably one of the best bumper horses we'll see this year, and I think he'll win.
Well, nothing more straightforward than that. Dave, I know, Noel, you have a very strong fancy for a horse here yourself.
Yeah, my nap of the day runs in this race, and it's Klinsman. He's a double-figure price, and I think the favourite that David just tipped up will set the race up for him nicely by going a strong gallop in front. Klinsman from Eddie Harty's stable, double-figure price. Very confident selection. Oh,
I say, well, that's not going to be a good one. I think I'll go with Noel actually in this one, Dave. I do like Klinsman. He ran very well against Lieutenant Colonel on his first run, and he's a bit of value there, maybe a 10 or 12 to 1. So that's day 3 wrapped up. Hopefully we pointed a few winners there in your direction. It's going to be tough for punters. Enjoy the day. Of course, I'm hoping Queen Vega can do it again, and we meet you all here again tomorrow to discuss Hurricane Fly and jet ski.